I have no self-esteem.
Well, I am so glad to hear it. Someone who says the kind of incredibly stupid shit you do shouldn't have any self-esteem whatsoever. Self-esteem is for people who aren't a complete drag on society and all the people around them. Although, to be fair, if you had some self-esteem to lose, maybe you wouldn't do that shit. It's a complicated issue that you are too damn stupid to understand, so it's not like it's going to change.
I'm not saying I dislike myself or that I have a problem with my self-image.
Oh, well, I mean, you probably should. You know you're kind of a dumbass, right? I mean, someone must have informed you about this by now. I have tried a number of times. Apparently those messages just haven't gotten through. Well, this is for your own good. You're a fucking idiot, Matt. And not even in a fun way. More in a, oh God, what did he do this time kind of way. Please, get help. And I mean, literally get some help. People who are paid to assist you, preferably with extreme force to stop you saying dumb shit.
And I don't have low self-esteem. I'm just saying that I have no self-esteem at all. Why?
I'm gonna guess because you don't know how fucking words work and decided that having self-esteem is one of those things that those people do to ruin society for some fucking reason, and yet end up demonstrating why you really should have the lowest opinion of yourself possible, and yet seem to think very highly of yourself, just like a moron would.
For the same reason that I have no pet unicorns.
See, what did I tell you? A smarter man would definitely have pet unicorns already, because fictional pets are awesome. Although, to be fair, the way this is worded means that Matt only doesn't have pet unicorns because they aren't real. But really, would any of you trust Matt Walsh with a living being of any size or magical nature? Fuck no. That thing would be dead within a day from sheer bloody incompetence. What do you mean I can't dry a horse in an industrial microwave?
Self-esteem is a fantasy. It's a meaningless fabrication that exists only in your imagination.
So having confidence in one's own worth or abilities, also known as self-respect, that doesn't exist. What an incredibly odd thing to say. And by odd, I mean brain-meltingly fucking stupid. How can it be impossible to be confident you are good at something? And Matt, you clearly have it in spades. You think that the things you say aren't catastrophically idiotic. Unless you really aren't, and you do it all anyway, where maybe you should think about that. I mean, I don't have 100% confidence in everything that I do and say. You have to have plenty of room for doubt that the ideas that you think and say could possibly be wrong. But if you have 0% confidence in what you're saying, then you must be saying it for some other reason. I don't know, like getting paid specifically to say it. That would be the literal definition of shill/grifter, Matt.
The dictionary defines esteem this way: to regard with admiration.
Well, I can guess what you're going to do with this, but it's a common failure with the stupids. When you have a word that means something, but then add a word to it, it changes the fucking meaning, you beardy clown. Self-esteem isn't defined as admiring yourself. It's not a new word for like narcissism or an inflated ego. It's a pretty basic idea that also has levels. Again, it has to do with confidence, and no one thinks confidence is strictly a bad thing. Until, of course, you spend your entire career saying stupid things to credulous people. Then it can be pretty fucking awful.
Self-esteem, therefore, means to regard yourself with admiration.
You are a duplicitous little shite, aren't you, boy? Why would you deliberately take the definition of a different word to then apply its definition to a term that very much has a different meaning? You're again either too stupid to realize that is not how words work, or you are doing this on purpose in order to make a frankly really fucking stupid point. So both stupid and a liar. And people say you have nothing to offer.
But is that how we should see ourselves?
Let's just ignore that bullshit definition of admiring yourself, because people use admire more to describe things outside of themselves, regarding something or someone impressive or worthy of respect. Like, I have literally never ever heard anyone say, you know what I admire? Me. Both to themselves and about me. But what you could say is pride in oneself and achievements something we should do? And since you are a Bible boy, pride ain't bad 'cause God, well, that's fucking stupid. Pride is just something that happens to people. It's more of an emotion than anything else. And you can be proud of yourself and not think that you are the greatest being or thing to ever exist. And frankly, you should not feel that way anyway. You're not me or whiskey. Get a grip.
If someone asked you who you admire, would you really want to answer, well, I admire myself?
It's not that you wouldn't want to say that. It's that you literally wouldn't. It's a complete failure, intentional or not, to understand how language works. Admiration is something you do externally. No one uses admiration on themselves. It's just not a sentence that would make sense to anyone. So when someone asks you who you admire, you know they are asking who of the people who aren't you do you think is a cool person in some regard. And of course, no one on this planet has ever answered Matt Walsh to that fucking question, I am damned sure. At least not without some severe head trauma first.
Would that be a good thing?
You know, I decided to check out some definitions of esteem because why the hell would I trust you? And of course, you left out, or more likely sought out, a definition that left out respect from the definitions. But of course, Matt can't use the idea of self-respect because a lying moron who doesn't know how to words. Should he respect himself?
I would say no, emphatically.
Lol, too right.
I was hardly a precocious kid, but I think I realized this self-esteem thing was a racket as far back as junior high.
Oh, I well imagine you were not, in fact, particularly developed as a child. I mean, that would have made you more of a functional adult than you are now, and I'm pretty sure that's not how that's supposed to work. And no, growing shit facial hair is not the same thing as growing up, Matt. It's just a sign of growing old. Badly.
I remember when the guidance counselor at my school handed out a worksheet and asked us to rate our self-esteem on a scale of 1 to 10.
Oh, do not pretend that you went to school, and if by some miracle/extreme failure of education mix-up you weren't sent to a puppy trainer, I can only imagine that you were only ever handed out sheets of newspaper to place around your desk in a vain attempt to house train you after the 56th accident that day. Bad dog.
Meanwhile, kids in China were learning silly things like math and science. Now we're bankrupt and they own the country, but at least we all feel pretty good about ourselves.
A, you only don't know maths because you are, again, and I will never stop reminding you, a fucking dumbass. And B, do you not think that Chinese kids have some level of self-esteem? Pretty sure it applies to them exactly the same way as anywhere fucking else on the planet, dipshit. And of course, 10-year-old you was really concerned with what kids in China were learning. Do not lie to me. We all know that your primary interest at that age was how do I gain access to the delicious beverages under the sink? And more importantly, how to open them to get the precious mana inside.
In any case, there we were, facing the important task of arbitrarily quantifying our egos.
See? There you go. You know there's a fucking word that's more appropriate for the asinine point you think that you are making. And you know why they did that? They weren't looking for you to be the most self-esteemed person on the planet. They were more than likely trying to figure out which kids felt like shit about themselves, so they could look into some sort of support or counselling or whatever. It wasn't a test to prove who had the most giantest of egos, although I'm sure you would have won.
When I asked my teacher why I should have high self-esteem, she said, because you're special.
Oh, fuck off. That does not comport with the form as presented. If you weren't a dumbass, you should have asked, why should I fill out this thing at all? But let's say a version of that conversation happened. The teacher would have likely said a person with high self-esteem might have such because they are, how did you put it? Special? Irony. But frankly, this participation award shit, let's say it's how it played out. Not that I have experienced it. No one called me a special snowflakes. I've never been given an award for nothing, even though I am of the age where that was supposed to be happening. To be fair though, I am that shit, but still. Literally every single person I have heard talk about being told, you am speckle, here am being here trophy. They all, at the time, thought that it was horseshit. The lot of them. No one thinks that that does anything. And I'm pretty sure pretty much everywhere stopped fucking doing it because it was stupid. And yet the olds, who funnily enough are a big part of your demographic and were the ones that made that shit happen, continue to bang on about it like anyone but them fucking asked for it. So weird.
When I asked why I was special, she said, because you're you.
Maybe this interaction happened when you were like fucking 5, but past the age of about 9, I'm pretty damn sure none of this Barney the Dinosaur shit is going on in schools. Again, in my experience, most schools are far too busy trying to teach you the shit you need to actually finish your education, including that math garbage that Matt is pretending is only taught to people who speak fucking Mandarin. And no, I'm not saying that schools are perfect and that they don't sometimes do stupid shit, at least on a case-by-case basis, but to act like this kind of stuff is what the entirety of a child's education is about is likely someone who has never fucking experienced an education, Matt.
I found this an odd statement at the time, coming as it was from the woman who had just given me a D on my last math quiz.
Yeah, you know, it's almost like you fucking made it up in a bizarrely fruitful attempt to tell people who are incapable of learning new things that they were right all along about those damn insert generation kids here. I mean, those young'uns do all suck as people, but not me, the one who's so fucking unjustifiably judgmental all the time. I'm the fucking best.
Most of my classmates, though, quickly jotted down 9s and 10s. Incidentally, some of them would grow up to become unemployed alcoholics.
So, do you think that's because they had high self-esteem or because they had other shit going on and self-awareness was not exactly part of it? Or maybe that they were in fact hiding that they were having a massively shit time of it? You know, like extremely depressed people fucking do all the time. He seems so happy is the catchphrase of people chronically not paying attention to their loved ones. And so they shared all the results with you? That seems pretty unlikely. What business is it of yours to know what they put? Or were you just being weird, running around the class desperately probing into the answers like a creep? Imagine that.
But I'm guessing if they could take that test again, they'd score themselves exactly the same.
You think that jobless people with alcohol abuse really like and admire themselves? Holy shit, Matt, you are so out of touch with reality, I'm surprised you don't have the ability to walk through fucking walls. That is just not how that works. I mean, I'm sure somewhere are a tad delusional or again, lying to themselves and others, but if they were to do it honestly or completely anonymously, I would bet quite the fucking opposite. But then again, I actually have met some people in my life and don't just assume they are all the ridiculous things I made up in my own empty bonds. I mean, he needs something in there, I guess.
See, that's the whole point of self-esteem. To be proud of yourself even when there's no reason to be proud of yourself.
No, it fucking isn't. It's a measure of a person's self-worth. It's a scale. You see all these gaps down here? They actually mean something, you colossal dipshit. It's amazing to me that you could possibly have the self-esteem to come here and say such absurd and obviously stupid shit without crumpling into a little ball of self-hatred and pure cow excrement.
Of course, apologists will claim that self-esteem is simply about confidence.
Of course, people who know what words are will say the words I don't understand mean something else, but I'm thick as shit. Why would I listen to someone way smarter than me? People who are smarter than me say things I don't agree with, so that must mean they are wrong, and not that I should perhaps learn something about anything. Also, the idea of self-esteem apologists is just about the most insane thing I have heard on the entirety of PragerU. And you people's mascot is Penis Prager, who says shit like this.
I am somewhat schizophrenic. A few weeks ago, my brother was murdered by me.
And that you need confidence to succeed in life. Okay.
Apparently, some people can succeed on confidence and confidence alone with no actual discernible skills or talents or even knowledge about anything that happens in reality. And then they get a job at PragerU.
But if self-esteem is simply about confidence, then why don't we just call it confidence?
Because different words have different meanings and uses, you fucking doofus. Seriously, it's like he just woke up today and decided, do you know what I hate? Self-esteem. All those other people have it with justifiable reasons, but I only have it because I am completely self-deluded and overconfident in my complete and total non-abilities. I need to destroy that word so no one can spot that contradiction about me. I didn't realize you were such a fan of policing words, Matt.
Because confidence must be earned.
No, what are you talking about? Are you just making up definitions at this point? For fuck's sake, there's literally a concept of unearned confidence. Are you saying that people don't have it without earning it? Because you are proof positive that that isn't the fucking case. The feeling or belief that one can have faith in or rely on something or someone. What part of that says you have to earn it? Alright, none of it, because you're so full of shit, I'm surprised it isn't coming out of your goddamn eyes.
A student is confident about doing well on a test if he studies for it. An athlete is confident on the field if he practices. A singer is confident in her abilities if she, in fact, has abilities.
A student can be confident in their natural abilities in a subject or knowing that it's a really easy test. An athlete can be confident because they are naturally fit and fast and are going up against 17 geriatrics. And I don't know if you've ever been to karaoke, but confidence comes when the alcohol flows. And it is very, very hard to listen to. Although still not as hard as listening to you pontificate about shit you clearly don't understand. God damn.
Self-esteem, on the other hand, can be defined as unearned confidence.
It can be, but that would be completely wrong, and I would assume that the person saying it is a stupid, lying piece of shit. And I think deep down, you know that's exactly what you are. And I think deep down, we all know you are too.
Wait, before you go, I have something super important to tell you. It's life or death. It will change everything forever. Nope, wait, it's gone. Oh well, probably wasn't important. But while I have you, don't forget to comment, subscribe and notify. And if you want more of my smexy voice, check out Mrs. Six's channel Spoonstaff Stories, where I narrate and voice all the videos, and she does the work. And if you want to support the channel, check out the merch store for cool t-shirts, or check out Patreon, memberships and PayPal to support directly. Finally, follow me on the medias of social to get completely pointless guff and to keep up on the latest releases. Oh, I just remembered what I was going to tell you. Whatever you do, don't touch that.